Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I appreciate it.
So it's so funny that we should have this conversation. My bestie from like high school, she just texted me the other day and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I skipped a period. I think it's time." And she's just so excited right now, because she's done. She feels like she's done, and she's just like over the moon about it. So, can you explain? Because we're hearing a lot of about perimenopause. What's the difference between menopause and perimenopause?
Okay, so we'll break it down.
Okay.
Perimenopause and menopause, to start, are both natural parts of the aging process for women. So, for decades before this, we've had fluctuating hormone levels that correspond to our menstrual cycles and help with mood, metabolism, reproductive health. But as we get closer to menopause, these levels start to become a little bit more erratic and they eventually start to decline. So, menopause is officially when you have stopped having periods for 12 months. Perimenopause is all of the years leading up to that. So I don't want to burst your friend's bubble. It could be some time before she's actually done, but she has potentially entered into that perimenopausal pre-menopause time.
So I was one of those people who went through it very young. I think I was gosh, I think it was my late 30s,
Hmm.
and I just had nothing, like no hot flashes, no nothing really. How does that happen? Like what's the difference maker when it comes to that? Is there anything you could do to help yourself?
Yeah, it's so interesting because there is such a wide variety of symptoms and times that women go through it. And so the average age of menopause is about 51, 52, but it ranges and symptoms for some women can start in the late 30s, kind of like what you
Mhm.
experienced. There is some component that's genetic. So there's people that say, "Hey, my mom had these symptoms, I had these symptoms too." But there's also a lot of inconsistency with that. So there are not a lot of natural ways to support your hormones. There's a lot of natural remedies that people talk about, but they're not studied. And so when we think about things that we know actually can help, we're talking about things like hormone replacement therapy, which had a lot of controversy back in the day, but is a very safe and effective way for it to have both short and long-term benefits for women.
Is that what I hear about the pellet thing? Like, what's the pellets? I've gone to places and they've talked about it and it just goes, phew, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I feel like a hot, like a wood burning stove or something. They got to put pellets in me. I don't get it.
Yeah. There are three main hormones that we consider when we're thinking about hormone replacement therapy. We have estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And there's a ton of different formulations and how ways that you can get these. So there's pills, there's injections, there's creams, there's patches, and pellets are a type of one of those formulations. So as far as I'm aware, there are not pellets that are like an FDA approved, highly regulated, but there's compounded medications or bioidentical hormones, and sometimes they come in those different formulations that are inserted and then slowly give you hormones over time.
It's so weird. Am I the only
It's a lot,
one?
right? But this is why there are licensed healthcare professionals that can walk you through it, right? So, like hormone replacement therapy is only available via prescription. And I think that's a good thing because
Mm.
otherwise, imagine being in a supermarket and being in like the vitamin aisle. Like, right? What do you choose? So you sit down, you talk to your healthcare provider, you talk about your symptoms, your medical history, your family history, and you come up with a grouping of medications that's right for you specifically, that you know will be, for the most part, effective.
So my generation, we talk about things. My sisters, they're my stepsisters, and they're like 20 years older than me, so they don't really. And my mom never did.
Mhm.
So how can we have this conversation? How can I start talking to my daughter about these things instead of, making it all a mystery?
I think it's so important to have these open and honest conversations because you're right. Like, this is not some of the generational information that was passed down. Like, it certainly wasn't when I grew up, and it
Mhm.
wasn't the area that I am either, but among my friends group, we're starting to talk about it. Celebrities are starting to talk about it now. It's becoming a much more open and honest conversation. And I think that's what I would do for discussing it with your daughter too. That's what I'll do when I discuss it with my daughters. Talk about how this is a normal and natural part of the aging process. We are all going to go through this. These are things you might experience. Like, let's talk about it when it comes up. We are here to support you. We have like a collective group experience in this. You're not going to be alone, but we can only support each other when we talk about it.
So, do you have to go through a series of tests to figure out that you need hormone replacement? What does that entail?
Yeah. So, no. And this is interesting because sometimes people don't understand why. They're like, well, why can't I just have a lab test to show that I've been through menopause? So, once you've been through menopause and you're not cycling anymore, your levels of hormones are going to be low. So, yes, you could do a blood test to confirm what you already know, that you've stopped having periods. But when you're in that in between, there are such large fluctuations in your hormone levels. So rather than being a very tightly regulated ups and downs throughout the month, you're having highs that are higher, lows that are lower. It's just so much more erratic that if you happen to test one day, maybe your levels will be high. If you happen to test the next day, maybe your levels will be low. It's inconsistent. It doesn't give us a lot of good data. So we don't use the labs as a way to show whether or not a woman has started this process. We focus on the symptoms.
There's so much we go through.
There's so
It's
much.
it's so crazy when you real. I saw. It must have been a TikTok because that's where I'm at most of the time. But it was just talking about like what our bodies do. Like we make people, and sometimes we don't make people, and we go through our periods every month, and we there's just so much. Like how do we get through it? I don't know sometimes.
Remarkable. But
Hmm.
humans have been on this planet for however long, and everybody has gotten through it before. So I am confident that we are also going to get through it. But this is the fun about medicine and science. We're always learning new things. We're always deepening our understanding, specifically about women's bodies, about menopause, about hormonal care. And that's why I think it's great that we have a whole group of healthcare professionals that are focused on assisting and supporting women because they know and understand all these nuances that you're talking about, the very complicated machine that is the human body.
And we need to have conversations. Like I said, like my mom never talked about anything. So everything was just a surprise, and it shouldn't be. You should know. We should talk.
And that's what we're doing. As I mentioned, that's like
Yes.
celebrities are doing. And I'm so happy about that because there was a lot of misinformation, a lot of fear surrounding some of these therapies, especially decades ago, like 20, 25 years ago. There was a big study that came out that put a lot of fear in people's minds about hormone replacement therapy. But as I mentioned, the science has evolved. We have such a better understanding of women's bodies. We know the risks and the benefits, so we can talk about it. So if you're someone or you know someone who is starting to feel like this, who's not feeling like herself and doesn't know why, start a conversation with your doctor.
Mhm.
And if they're not the right person, they can either send you to one or, I mean, you can always go, like we're at Henry Meds, we focus on a lot of women's care, and we'd be happy to have that conversation with you. But there's people out there that can support you.
Nice. Where can people go for more information?
Yeah, so Henry Meds is where I'm one of the medical directors. It's henrymeds.com. And I always tell people too, there are good healthcare providers everywhere. So you can go to your local primary doctor, you can go to your OB-GYN, you can come to one of the telehealth platforms. We are essentially just focused to increasing access and having these important discussions. So we really help people feel the best that they can.
Doctor, thank you so much for being here today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Bye bye.